Great. So we're here at Thurman versus Josesito Lopez, or Josesito Lopez. So a little post-fight discussion here. So first off, how did you score the main event? What do you think the headline is coming out of Thurman Lopez?
Definitely the wide range of scores struck me as being strange or peculiar. The draw was weird, and you almost had a feeling like, whoa, is the fix in, or what's going to happen, especially after last week with Linares getting upset.
2019, year of the upsets.
Yes, yeah. Year of the comebacks that I guess actually don't come back. So that's
yeah,
kind of,
yeah, good point, right? Yeah, the clock had run out on Linares, and it seemed like it might have run out on Thurman in that 7th round. That was pretty crazy. So you scored it wider for Thurman?
I think I scored it wider for Thurman. It's a little hard sometimes because I'm just shooting shots.
Reaction.
But the draw and then the one really close struck me as odd. I thought it was a little bit wider than that.
Okay. Yeah. Did you think – well, so my quick reaction, for anyone who saw my score on Reddit, I scored it very wide for Thurman. I mean, I don't think the draw is totally crazy. I mean, if you look at the scoring criteria in boxing, overwhelmingly you're looking at clean landed punches, where I think Thurman had a clear advantage over the course of the fight. But aggression is part of the scoring criteria. Lopez was the aggressor in every round, and he was landing in every round. It's not like he was landing nothing. I mean, he was moving forward, and he was doing something. Yeah. But in my eye, Thurman landed the better punches in almost every single round, except for that crazy 7th round. So what was your reaction during the 7th round, and did you think Thurman could have been stopped at any point?
He was more hurt than I originally thought. The one kind of, I guess, I don't know, I have to go look at some of his old fights, but he tends to draw back straight, or he does like a fake shell, but he was getting clipped, and he needed to actually move his head and maybe use some lateral movement instead of pulling straight back. And I feel like he was actually really generally hurt, and he admitted so in his post-fight that he was buzzed. It's a lesson, don't play with your food. He was up strong and early, and I don't know if it's a tank or we'll need to see some more rounds to see. But he's definitely not ready for anybody top 3 or top 5.
Oh, that's interesting. You think that. So coming out of this, he needs another fight like at this level.
Yes, at or around. I'm not sure if it's wise to go after Pac-Man. They seem to be trying to tee up that fight.
I'm fascinated that you're saying that. I mean, that just shows how fantastic the promotion has been with this. I mean, so many we're kind of skipping around. We'll get back to Pacquiao in a little bit. But so coming in, I mean, did you think it was fair game for Thurman to take the Lopez fight? Because that was somewhat controversial. Some people said 2 years out, he needs to take a fight like this. Some people said Lopez is below his level. This is a waste of time. I mean, what was your general thought coming in?
I think part of it's on the sanctioning body. So the WBC, he was stripped, correct? And this is for the WBA?
I think so. I feel bad that I don't.
No.
It's the end of a long day.
I'm pretty sure. I think that's the setup. I think it's up to the sanctioning body.
Right. And Pac has the WBA regular belt, right? So that does put them. Yeah, that's another thing that puts them on a collision course.
That puts them in line to kind of settle things. With that much time off, I'll if you wanted to fight a cab driver outside, that's fine. Like you just need the rounds.
You're talking about coming into tonight.
Yeah, coming into tonight. I'm not expecting him to come back and jump right back into Porter or another DSG fight. I'd give him after this one. I'd actually give him probably another fight, and then maybe even in the next year, I'd say like, okay, now you have to get back on the championship level, and we have to see where his heart is. So he seemed to be having fun out there until the 7th round. He looked fairly sharp, and I think. As far as like his movement and the amount of volume of punches he threw, that looked good. So I feel like, I don't know, mechanically everything seemed to be there.
So, so I agree with the last thing you said, and I completely disagree with the first thing you said. So, in my opinion, or where I'm coming from is that fight promotion is a lot of like, what narratives can you spin?
Okay.
So in my mind, if you look a year ago, people had written Pac off completely, said he was done, said it would be dangerous if he stepped in any with the top guys. I mean, and it's amazing after this fight with Adrian Broner, who has like half of a decent win at 147 in his whole career. Pac beats him, doesn't knock him out, doesn't knock him down, and people are calling for, the Pac hardcore fans are back. People are saying he's number one. I have YouTube videos of some of Spence's old fights, so I get all these comments. I get to see, what is the, super casual fan thought on Spence? And, this week has been all posts saying, who's this guy Spence? Pacquiao would eat him alive. Why are people saying Spence needs... Pacquiao fans are emboldened. So, it's crazy. A year ago, it would have been a mismatch to have Thurman against Pacquiao.
Yes.
And now, Pacquiao beats Broner, okay, and Thurman gets buzzed for one round, but otherwise dominates the whole fight. Doesn't get the stoppage, that's disappointing, but just landed bomb after bomb for, 10 or 11 rounds.
Yeah.
Right? I think so. But Thurman gets hurt, and suddenly people are saying, it's completely the reverse. It's too dangerous to put Thurman in with Pacquiao. It's so fun to follow boxing. So in my mind, you don't put Thurman in with Lopez. You don't do a rematch. You don't put him in with another fighter at that level, because if Thurman knocks him out, then you lose that sales pitch for the Pacquiao fight. Yeah. You do the Pacquiao fight now, that is such a juicy fight. And, if Pacquiao-Broner did 400, 450 buys, thing like that, people are talking about that. The Thurman fight is bigger than that.
Yes, definitely bigger.
If that could do 700,000 buys, that's amazing. And that is such a credible fight to sell. I heard so many people at people who I would think would know better. Maybe I'm being unfair, but, saying that, again, same thing you said. It's not... Thurman's not ready for Pacquiao. I'm kind of astounded at how this has turned. I don't mean to throw you under the bus too much or make you look like a mark, but it's
that's no. And
to me, this is the moment to do the fight. The vulnerability of Thurman was on display. Overall, the main takeaway should be it was a dominant performance, but you have the vulnerability was there. Do that fight.
Yeah, and I wouldn't knock him when I was saying. You don't want to jump in there with any of the sharks, the top 3 or 5. I wasn't putting Pac-Man in there.
Yeah.
But I would say that vulnerability did make me think if I had my promoter hat on for Thurman, you have to be careful. And you're right, that does make an intriguing story. Due to the fact that he has a vulnerability, or what we perceive, or I perceived as a vulnerability tonight, that's enough to make it interesting, as opposed to what you considered 2 years ago, that it would be just beating up on a washed shot version of Pacquiao.
It's crazy how and you're not going to be the only one saying that. Already the reactions on Reddit, I was doing the fight thread, tons of people saying the same thing, Pacquiao would eat this guy alive. I just but you got to love boxing promoting. They did a brilliant job with this. Definitely not saying Thurman got hurt on purpose. I think that was legit. There had been stories that he was getting tagged a lot in sparring. He had said previously, and was much criticized for saying 2019 is the comeback year, the big fights will be in 2020. And I think you saw why tonight. I think he knew in his gut that his body was not there. I got to talk to him a few times during the promotion, and I asked him during the media conference call earlier this week, what is the product you're selling to fans tonight? Is this Keith one-time Thurman, you're going to put on an explosive performance, you're going to bomb him out? Or is this really a fight where you need to prove that you're back to yourself? And, it was kind of a tough question for him because, I don't want him to speak against the promotion and say, I need to test my body out. But that's basically what he said. He said, I need to move. I need to move in there. I'm looking forward to moving in a real fight. I need to get hit again. He said that acknowledging that maybe he's been buzzed in camp. He needs to feel what, fights feel like without headgear, in a real fight. And I'm paraphrasing what he said. You can look up the recording on YouTube if you want to hear it. But I think that's what we saw tonight. We saw why he said 2019 is the comeback year. But again, it's that vulnerable makes Pacquiao fight so juicy. Or even, Sean Porter fight. Before this, people said he won. What's the point of doing a rematch? Now it looks like Sean Porter is that much more likely he could win. Garcia, I was just rewatching some of that. I believe that was a split decision or a majority decision for Garcia. I don't remember off the top of my head, but, That was a very, very close fight in the scorecards, and I'd have to say it looks like it would be closer the second time around. So all three of those fights are big. I think the one fight that Thurman probably can't get away with is the Spence fight, because Spence was already looking like the favorite, so it's not really good for him to be more vulnerable.
How about Crawford?
I mean, Crawford, they're not going to do that fight anyway.
They're not going to do it anyway, but I think if
same
I had to put
problem,
people, don't get in there, don't get in there with Crawford or Spence.
Yeah, same problem, but my gut personally, I mean, so circling back to it, I mean, Pacquiao, Thurman, how would you see that go? I mean, would you have a favorite in that fight if they did it next?
As much as...
See, your reaction is showing how good of a fight promotion that would be, right?
Yeah,
you have
I have
think
to think about it instead of instantly like Thurman. I instantly lean Thurman just to go with the youth. He's going to throw at least double-digit punches per round, unlike Pac-Man's last fight. So there's going to be a little bit more volume there, and the movement, and hopefully he does get crisper. Pac-Man, I have to give it to you. Yeah, he looked sharp versus AB, and AB is just going to be AB. So I would lean Thurman in that fight, but I would expect to see a flash or so, much like Lopez did today. I would expect to see a flash from Pac-Man where he might, happen to tag Thurman.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like if Lopez could hurt Thurman, you can't say that Pacquiao couldn't, right? So, it becomes a very, very enticing promotion. That is the fight I want to see next.
Yes.
I don't think you need to mix the Spence-Garcia winner with Pacquiao or Thurman. I think that fight can wait until 2020. Pacquiao-Thurman to me is the perfect fight.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the undercard, Adam Konowski?
Yeah. Konowski, and I always butcher his name.
Yeah, I just go with the Kanaki. That's sort of they've sort of the media people have kind of told the press just like pronounce his name that way.
Okay, yeah.
But that's not really the correct Polish, but
so
I'll allow it if you want to be a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm sorry, everybody in Greenpoint and whatnot. But he looked good. I was a little bit worried for him just due to the fact that the Charles Martin fight went the distance. He got into some deep water there. This is somewhat of a step up as well in competition. He's normally on undercards, which the atmosphere is crazy. I should have took more video of it. I took
the Polish fans really turn
out. They come in
him.
and flood in entire
red
sections
shirts.
of red shirts, and they start chanting, and then once he wins they go crazy, and then honestly they walk out sometimes, or after his fight.
Right. Well, they at least go out for a beer, but they usually come back for the main event. I mean, do you think he's ready to main event here in his next fight?
I definitely think he can. The next, I feel like, event coming up is Lara and Ortiz. I don't know why they can't throw him on maybe a co-main here at the Barclays, because he sells.
That's a little bit too soon
tickets.
of a turnaround. I mean, he did have a cut, or do you just?
Oh no, not on that. Like a card like that in general. Like I don't know if he can headline on his own.
Lara Castano in a main event, it's like you could definitely, or you could do a night of heavyweights where you could have Konowski. I'm just going to say Konowski. I mean, I think Konowski is. I mean, that's still not. I'm not going to. Whatever. Kanaki, Luis Ortiz, Joe Joyce, something like that. You could do a triple bill. Neither guy would really even need to be match tough, and that would set up a showdown potentially between one of them.
True.
I was surprised. A lot of people here tonight rumbling around again, even on Press Row, saying Wilder doesn't want that work about Kanaki, which I think is fascinating because, again, a year ago people would say it's a total mismatch, but you had tonight Gerald Washington had fought Wilder, seemed to win like the first 4 rounds before getting knocked out.
Yeah, did much better in that fight.
He had fought Big Baby Miller, made Miller look pretty bad in spots, ultimately got stopped late, but again here, I mean, just drove through him. I mean,
and Kanaki's gas tank always surprises me because he's a big guy, and big guys they throw.
He doesn't have that beach body.
Yeah, definitely not. And he tends to get cut a lot in his fights. He does have a baby face. I think that's almost literal, but he just put his foot on the gas and didn't let up, and did that for 1 round. Took a little bit of a breather during the round and then continued it in the second, and just did what he needed to do and got him out of there. So that's always impressive. But due to the fact that he's a big guy, but he's not too tall compared to some of the other taller heavyweights. Deontay Wilder was in the crowd, watching his brother earlier. I won't speak to that fight.
I'm so happy I got here early for that fight. Marcellus Wilder got knocked out, flew flat on his back directly at me. I got very lucky, seats on press row. He was about 10 feet away from me, flying on his back. After having dominated the whole fight, it was the end of the fourth round, gets knocked out, gets up, and just can't keep it together. They stopped the fight. But anyway, that was not a happy night for Wilder in that way. But Wilder was in the crowd. Did they do reaction shots or? They did after the Brazil fight, almost like a wrestling promo.
Yeah.
And they had a camera straight in Wilder's face. I didn't see if they did that again tonight.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I wasn't here at that time, but I do know during the Kanaki fight, they were showing him, and then he was being interviewed and asked that down.
Oh, he was?
Yeah,
okay.
down.
I'll watch the broadcast tomorrow,
But I don't think he's ready for. I do want him to get a title shot. I'd have to go look at the heavyweight landscape because I feel like a lot of the hardware is in.
Well, Joshua has all the belts.
Yeah,
for
it's
now,
in one of two places. But I think he can continue his pattern of finding common opponents between some of the top heavyweights.
Right.
So he's done a lot of common opponents with Wilder. Maybe it's time to do something with one of the
His
UK
manager
guys.
was banging that drum. I mean, I was down, banging the Wilder drum. I mean, he was saying, look, he's got these common opponents. He keeps doing better. I mean, he has that big win over Spilka, much better than Wilder's fight with him, big win over Washington. So just saying, what else do we have to do to get the Wilder fight? Now, how do you think Wilder Kanauki would do at the Barclays Center?
That would be an insane fight. That would be an insane fight because Kanauki brings.
I think that would sell the place out.
Yeah, we would have upper level that would have to open everything.
And people
up.
would love it. I don't know if it's credible on pay-per-view really, but we'll have to see. I mean, especially if Wilder fights Fury again. I mean, that's the thing. Like speaking of the Thurman fight, it's sort of a win or lose thing. I mean, if Wilder wins against Fury, if they do a rematch, that makes him that much bigger. If it looks like the first fight, except he doesn't get those two knockdowns and he loses a decision, well, again, it's a thing like the Thurman fight where it's like it makes kind of the big baby or the baby face fight that much bigger because Wilder then has a loss, looks vulnerable, and it's like a comeback fight. So it's hard to imagine that fight not happening here. And again, whatever the circumstances are, I feel like that'll be a huge fight.
Yeah, that would definitely be a crazy fight.
Cool. I'm going to skip King Tug. I don't know. I wasn't crazy about that fight. Do you have any quick thoughts on it? Or
I would just want to see his output jump up a little bit more. I feel like both fighters, Marrero had to bring the fight a little bit at times. I understand that not everybody's a front foot fighter, but what surprised me was that King Tug had a crazy, almost to the level that Kanaki has. He had a crazy following here. That which I did not know or recognize due to the fact that they're not
they rounded up some Mongolian fans.
Yeah, they had flags. I have pictures.
Yeah.
They were waving flags and they were going like nuts back there. And I kept hearing chants, and I thought it was the Polish fans just doing their soccer chants early. But no, it was.
Well, hearing the chant of Tugsanat,
Yeah.
which is a weird chant. It's one of those things where it's like when you hear it as a chant, it sounds like they're saying something else. A little bit weird, but very surprised he had fans here. I mean, people were like, the whole place was really on board early. I mean, he looked slick. He was landing thudding power shots, but then the fight just kind of slipped away from him. I mean, I don't think the decision was undeserved, but it looked pretty underwhelming down the stretch. I mean, early on, it was one of those things of like, wow, could this guy take over featherweight?
Yes.
And then by the end, it's like, well, he at least has more development to do. Has very few. He's Olympic silver medalist, very few pro fights though. So it looks like they're fast tracking him. I mean, today was a WBC eliminator, so that's for Gary Russell Jr.
Yeah, he doesn't want that work.
I don't know.
Now.
Yeah,
no disrespect to him, but
I don't know. I mean, he's a tough customer. He didn't really look hurt at any time tonight, even when he was hit. So I mean, he's still could be a tough out for everyone, but just looks very unpolished and showed a lot of vulnerability in terms of being outboxed. But, and Gary Russell Jr. very slick.
Yes.
So, any other thoughts on the prelims quickly?
Lil B-Hop, Chris Colbert looked good.
He put on a show.
Yeah, put on a crazy show. He still plays around a little bit too much.
Yeah,
in the ring.
he got tagged, I think,
Yeah.
more than his corner would like. I think he was
Yeah.
trying a little too hard to get some good highlight reel footage.
Yeah,
but,
definitely. But like, he
showed
had
a
some,
lot of talent.
Yeah, a lot of talent. Great counters. For being on one of the undercards that's televised, that's what you want to do. And I think that's one of the narratives of the night is that hopefully for all you that watch it on TV, I feel like it was a great night of TV. There were not a lot of snoozer fights.
That was good. And, quick about Lil B-Hop, Chris Colbert. He's stepped it up. Like, doesn't have many fights in his career. I think he's fought 3 undefeated fighters so far. This guy, I believe, was 8-1 with 7 knockouts. And, his opponent definitely was here to fight.
Yes.
This was not a thing of, like, let's bring in a favorable style matchup so he can look good. Like, this is a thing of, like, let's get a tough guy who's going to push him. I mean, he's only 22, and they're definitely, like, preparing him to be a world-class fighter, I think. I mean, they were looking for tough opponents for him. And it was really fun. If you didn't see it, try to find a replay. They replay these PBC cards a lot on FS1, so check it out or look it up online. They'll probably post it on YouTube before too long. Gary Antoine Russell blew his guy out, kept his perfect knockout streak going. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Maybe there's not much to say.
Yeah, not much. Just the same old. Would want to see maybe a step up in competition. I don't know what that looks like, but
he
business
hasn't
as usual
moved
for him.
up at all. I mean, as much as I was saying, like, Lil B-Hop has already faced a few, like, tougher guys. Gary Antoine has not, but he's got speed and power, also an Olympian, 2016 Olympian, very young. The word among, like, the PR people are really pushing him, saying, like, he's the guy out of, like, Gary Antonio Russell as well as turned pro, but they said, they feel like he is the guy out of the Gary Russell brothers, even more so than Gary Russell Jr., who's already a world champion. He's fighting at junior lightweight. He's kind of fighting between 135 and 140 right now, sort of setting himself up for an eventual run at either weight. And he's so young, it looks like he'll end up at welterweight eventually, which is the money division of boxing. So I think he has a really bright future. I mean, he just has speed and power that you can't teach. I mean, even more so, like, Lil B-Hop, very fast, showed some slickness. I mean, just in terms of, like, raw physical talent that really brings in fans, that, really excites people. Gary Antoine Russell really has it. But again, hasn't stepped up at all. I mean, he's only been in with very, very limited competition. Cool. Any other thoughts on the night?
No, great night of boxing.
Fun
Babs,
night at
wish
the
you were
Barclays
here.
Center. Yeah, Babs ducked the post-fight. Well, he's down doing, like, actual boxing writer stuff in the press room. But
Yeah, we're up here doing the real work.
well, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the fights tonight. Let us know if you agree, disagree, what you think about Thurman Pacquiao. I mean, to me, that's kind of the big story coming out of this is, I think that could be a big pay-per-view if they do it.
Yeah.
Cool. Signing off. Have a good night.
Thank you.